All right, guys. Good night. Good night. Good night to everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. You guys are fine tonight. I hope you guys are already in the chat and ready to roll. What's happening to my camera there? Why is it not working? Oh my God. What's going on with the camera here? All right, guys. Good night. Good night. I hope you guys are already on the live. I see 5 persons already here. I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. It's a sad situation we're actually in right now. Um, we are seeing some movements from. All right, so Virgil is online. Good night to you. Good night to you. Russia is warning the U.S. right now. Russia is warning the U.S. Warning Trump. Just really don't get involved in this thing. Just don't get involved in it. We're on the brink of something here. We're on the brink of something here. I believe that we're seeing sometimes. I don't. A lot of us have never seen a time like this. A lot of us have never seen a time like this. Why is my camera not working? Hmm. Yeah, a lot of us have never seen a time like this. A lot of you have never lived in a moment like this, and that is why just the other day I said to you guys that we're not hearing anything from our leaders in the Caribbean. We're not hearing anything at all. If there was ever to be a nuclear explosion anywhere, we're going to be in problems. We're going to be in absolute problems. Nobody's prepared for anything. Nobody has extra food supplies. Nobody has anywhere to hide. Nothing. Nobody knows what is going on. We're not hearing anything in the Caribbean. All of us who are right now paying attention, it's because we have this community where we can talk about this whole issue. But outside of that, have you heard anything from your governments? Have you heard anything from anybody in any position of government where they're saying, look, there's a war going on over there. There may be some fallout if things don't go the way we should prepare certain things. We should get certain things straight. Have you heard anything from anybody? Any country that you're living in, have you heard anything from anyone at all? I certainly have not heard anything here. I'm quite sure that you haven't heard anything here either. But let's listen to what Trump had to say, and then we'll get into our discussion.
No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore, but we'll see what happens. Look, nothing's finished until it's finished. War is very complex. A lot of bad things can happen. A lot of turns are made. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that we won anything yet. I would say that we sure as hell made a lot of progress, and we'll see. The next week is going to be very big, maybe less than a week, maybe less. But is there anybody here that said it would be okay to have a hostile, very, zealots really, but to have a hostile country have a nuclear weapon that could destroy 25 miles, but much more than that, could destroy other nations just by the breeze blowing the dust? That dust blows to other nations and they get decimated. This is just not a threat you can have. And we've been threatened by Iran for many years.
The US is considering whether to join Israel's air campaign against Tehran. America's $4.5 billion nuclear-powered supercarrier, the USS Nimitz, is on its way to the Middle East to provide support for Israel, a clear indication of where Donald Trump's priorities lie. Aircraft carriers are like a giant chess piece in the massive game of geopolitics. They provide the foundation of any sustained attacks, and Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, should be worried by this move from Trump. US Air Force planes have been spotted in Europe after flying all the way across the Atlantic from America. F-22 Raptors, F-35 Lightning jets, B-2 stealth bombers, KC-135 Stratotanker refuelers, and KC-46 Pegasus tankers have all touched down across Europe. What are they doing there? Well, they can help Israel shoot down those ballistic missiles that Iran has been raining down on Israel, pushing Israel's David Sling defense system, or the Iron Dome, to the absolute limit. And there are concerns Israel will run out of defensive missiles. The US jets can also serve a second purpose from Europe. They can be equipped with the bombs and missiles needed to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump has posted about Israel having total control over skies over Iran and called for an unconditional surrender. We know he's been in the White House Situation Room meeting with his National Security Council for 1 hour 20 minutes, and he's spoken to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the phone.
ملت ایران در مقابل جنگ تحمیلی محکم می‌ایسته، همچنانی که تا حالا ایستاده. در مقابل صلح تحمیلی محکم می‌ایسته. ملت ایران در مقابل تحمیل تسلیم هیچ کس نمیشه.
Iran has promised to hit US bases in the region, and US intelligence shows that to be the case. US military bases in UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan have been put on the highest alert, and we've seen the US pull out ships from its major naval base in Manama, the capital of Bahrain. The US has reportedly withdrawn from 2 military bases in northeastern Syria, Al-Wazir and Tal Bidar. The move has sparked concerns among Kurdish forces about a potential resurgence of ISIS activity in the region. Meanwhile, Israel has been hammering Iranian ballistic missiles, air defenses, and military bases. Ali Khamenei warned Trump he will face hell and irreparable harm if he enters into the war and drops a single bomb on the capital, Tehran. The 86-year-old Ayatollah and his family are believed to have bolted to a fortified underground hiding place in a suburb of Tehran. He went to ground after swathes of military top brass and nuclear scientists were wiped out in simultaneous strikes at the start of Israel's Operation Rising Lion. If the US does decide to hit Iran, what would the main targets be? It could be the Fordo fuel enrichment plant. The jewel in Iran's nuclear program, it's located in the mountains and encased in steel more than 300 feet below solid rock. Israel has already inflicted damage on the facility, but said it will not stop. Israel's goal is to destroy the regime's capability of enriching uranium to weapon grade and making a nuclear weapon. From the UK, jets have begun arriving in the Middle East, with Defence Secretary John Healey saying the deployment aims to protect our personnel, reassure partners, and reinforce the urgent need for de-escalation. The German Chancellor has signalled his support for Israel in an interview.
Frau Zimmermann, ich bin Ihnen dankbar für den Begriff Drecksarbeit. Das ist die Drecksarbeit, die Israel macht. Für uns alle. Wir sind von diesem Regime auch betroffen. Dieses Mullah-Regime hat Tod und Zerstörung über die Welt gebracht. Mit Anschlägen, mit Mord und Totschlag, mit Hisbollah, mit Hamas am 7. Oktober 2023 in Israel. Das wäre ohne das Regime in Teheran niemals möglich gewesen. Die Belieferung Russlands mit Drohnen aus Teheran. Ja, Drecksarbeit, die Israel da gemacht hat. Ich kann nur sagen, größten Respekt davor, dass die israelische Armee den Mut dazu gehabt hat, die israelische Staatsführung den Mut dazu gehabt hat, das zu machen. Wir hätten sonst möglicherweise Monate und Jahre weiter diesen Terror dieses Regimes gesehen und dann möglicherweise noch mit einer Atomwaffe in der
Alpha.
Hallo.
לגבי F2 בכיוון מערב על זה.
אוקיי, 7, מצטרף אליך רחוק. אוקיי.
אחלה.
נקודה 4 מ-7.
יש פגיעה במשאית ובנת"פ.
מעולה. ימינה דרום, בערך 10-20 מטר יתרים, אתה מצליח לבנות אותו ברלוונטי. אם להיות, תלך...
Warmongering Russia ironically warned the world sits on the brink of catastrophe. Vladimir Putin, who has been waging an illegal war against Ukraine, called for a cessation of hostilities between the two sides.
Can you just answer questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death, and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch this. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's so, everyone thought it was going to be the reverse. I didn't think so. And I was telling them, you gotta do something. You gotta negotiate. And at the end, last minute, they said, no, we're not going to do that, and they got hit. Remember 60 days, and then came the 60. 61 is going to become a very famous number. That was one hell of a hit. That first hit, that was one hell of a hit. Not sustainable, to be honest. That's where it ended. It ended on the first night. Yes.
Is it too late, though? Do you think it's too late to now?
Really, nothing's too late. The only thing too late is Powell. Powell's too late. Too late, Powell.
Have the Iranians reached out to you, Mr. President?
What?
Have the Iranians reached out to you?
Yes.
And what did you say?
I said it's very late. I said it's very late to be talking.
Um, yeah, it seems like the camera, the microphone, it seems like everything is giving problems tonight. That's Hasatan. Hasatan is here. Hasatan is always, when you're speaking of certain topics, Hasatan is always near. I hope you guys are hearing me now. I hope you guys are hearing me now. If you're hearing me, give me a thumbs up, all right? If you're hearing me, give me a thumbs up. Give me something in the chat there. Virgil, good night to you. Arlene Charles, good night to you. Shepherd's News of Elohim. Interesting times ahead, he says. I think Virgil also says, I'm glad God made me find your YouTube channel. Well, all praise to Yah there for sure. My ears hurting listening to Waste. Well, guy, you got to know what you want. Shepherd's News of Elohim says Matthew 24 and Luke 21 that Yah warned us about it. Japhet getting ready for more wars. Peter Allen says, good night. Our good friend Shepherd's News of Elohim said, time and season for everything from 2024 April total eclipse. We know that there would be war, and there were two previous eclipses, and the third one from a signal in war. Sons of Issachar must arise. Carlson Tucker talked about the nuclear plant. They called him crazy. The arranged people in power determined to destroy. Someone says, we're not hearing you, cannot hear. Let me tell you something. Living in Maryland, all these guys are working together. All right. Okay. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Glenda Ross says, no sound. Are you guys not hearing anything at all? What's going on? What's really going on? What's really going on here? So somebody has muted the broadcast. Is that what you're telling me? Let me check and make sure that you guys are hearing me, because I don't understand you guys. You're saying that you're not hearing me. Very, very important that you guys hear me. Let me make sure that everything is working. Let me make sure everything is working here. All right. All right. Um, oh, okay. You guys are hearing me, because I don't know. I think we're back. 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 I think the things have been moving very slowly here. I've not been hearing. All right, so guys, yeah, okay, all right, loud and clear, loud and clear. Okay, thanks a lot, thanks a lot. So here's the thing right now, right? Here's the thing that's going on. I want you guys in the chat to tell me if you have ever experienced anything like this before. Let me know if you have ever experienced anything like this before. Have you ever, during your lifetime, have you ever seen anything of the sorts that's going on here right now. Because since 2025 started, there has been a lot of problems since 2025 started. Matter of fact, since 2020, when they had the experimental quote unquote pandemic, a lot of things went haywire in the world. They never came back. We never went back to normal. Some people say we went back to normal, but I don't think we ever went back to normal. So if you guys are there, I want talk to me, guys, talk to me. Have you ever experienced anything like this? This time in which we are living in. Have you ever experienced anything like this? And I know a lot of you have read about wars and rumors of wars. I see you guys talk about it all the time. But have you ever lived a period of time when there's so many things going on at once? I don't think any of us have ever lived that. If you're in your 50s, if you're in your 40s, if you're in your 30s, you've never lived in a time when there be so much things going on. You understand what I'm saying? And look at this. Look at this. I can tell you this. I'll tell you something. Listen to this, Claire. Listen to this carefully. Listen to this carefully. I'm gonna find this right now for you. Listen to this carefully. Who don't want to commit? Who don't want to accept the reality of where we are living and what's going on? That's not my problem. I'm only here to bring the information. You don't want it. That's too bad. You don't have to stick around. Um, do you know that Hasatan delights in war? Do you know that Hasatan delights in war? Yeah. It excites the worst passions of the soul and then sweeps into eternity its victims steeped in vice and blood. See what's happening right now? See what's happening right now? A lot of people have been taken out. A lot of people have been taken out. A lot of people. And it is Hasatan's objective to incite the nations to war against one another, for he can thus divert the minds of people from the work of preparation to stand in the day of Yah. That's a lot of things going on. That's a mouthful I just said there. But I know a lot of you have never lived in a time like this. Blue says, never. This feels different. Lennox Ramit says, it's worse now. Douglas Baldwin talks about the Korean War. Ruby Barton says, prophecy will be fulfilled and Christ will return. Yah will come back. Virgil says, I'm in my early 30s, never seen a war. Never knew that. His mandate is to steal, kill, and destroy. See, people know what I'm talking about right here. Eyes are useless if the mind is blind. Absolutely. 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 Only thing close I can think of is the Iraq War. Aline Charles says never. MW says never. Peter Aline says never. So basically, everybody, almost all of you who are here right now, have never experienced anything like what is happening right now in this entire world. You understand what I'm saying? And there's more to come. And there's more to come. And do you know that there are deniers? Do you know that there are deniers, that people are denying that anything is going to really happen? I see it all the time. When I talk about stuff, people say nothing ever happens. You wouldn't like if something really was to happen. I can tell you that. Because right now, if this thing gets out of hand as it is going the way of getting out of hand, do you know that just nuclear radiation, just the dust, just that dust, that radiation going up into the atmosphere, do you know what it can do to people? Do you know? Do you know it can kill? It can take you out easily, easily. And of course, the wind travels. It travels. It travels. And once it travels, it makes its circle and it comes around to you. So it leaves over there. When the soufre erupted in St. Vincent in 2021, La Soufre, when La Soufre erupted, you know what happened? People actually in India, there was a dust cloud that left all the way in St. Vincent. and went all the way around the world. We're living in a we're living in this globe, It's encircled, It's like a dome, We ain't got nowhere to go, You notice the seasons are just revolving. You notice what's happening really. Some places, winter, spring, summer. Usually the seasons are just revolve. It's not going anywhere, and so it's not coming back. It's just revolving. That's all it's doing, revolving. So the air is just revolving. It's just spinning a circle. Leaves over there, and it comes over here. And so there will always be deniers to everything that's happening in this world. There will always be deniers to everything that is happening in this world. And Yah says, when people decide, you got to read the prophetic scrolls and you will know. When people decide to go on a path that they should not, this is what happens to the world. People take a different path. We should be living in love, but you can't live in love because Hasatan is here and Hasatan is waging war on mankind. And it's a battle for the mind. Do you understand that? It's a battle for the mind. It's a battle for the mind. And you have to make sure that your mind is on God. You have to keep your mind on God. You can't be sleeping on God. Because if you sleep on God, Hasatan will take you out. He will take you out. And wars you're having, a lot of people just dying. A lot of people just dying. That's what happens in war. A lot of people just dying. That's part of Hasatan's plan. And then there's this global cabal. This global cabal that we have. And whether you like it or not, some people don't like to hear it. All these people, including all these leaders, even though they seem to be divided, they're all working in concert. They've been used by Hasatan. They've been used by Hasatan. They are being used by Hasatan. That's what is happening. And some of them don't even know they're being used by Hasatan. So we have wars every Monday morning. I tell people all the time that someone asks me about the issue of what I think was going to happen with this issue with Iran and Israel. And I said to them that, look, it's going to be a permanent conflict zone. These two nations, it's just going to be a permanent issue going on there. Even if they stop bombing tomorrow and call a ceasefire, it's going to be a permanent zone of problems. Sometime in the near future, even if there's a little peace now, people in Iran, some group in Iran will remember that on some June 5th morning, while I was home doing my usual chores and not disturbing anybody in Israel, that a bomb came from a military aircraft belonging to Israel and just destroyed something in my country. Somebody, sometime in the near future, even if they come to peace now and stop it, will remember what happened and say, I need to take revenge for that. So what you're going to have down there is occasional flare-ups between the both countries, like how you used to have this issue between Iraq and Iran back and forth. You're going to have that between Israel and Iran, even if they call a ceasefire. And then you're going to have all these proxy groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis and all of them, Hamas, whatever. They'll all be doing things every now and then to cause a problem there. So we have problems. We have a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems on our hands. And whether people want to believe or not, I can't force anyone to believe anything. But friends, their words are always true. There are wars and rumors of wars. Right now, we've never lived in this time. Look today, this is what Putin had to say. Listen to this. This is what Putin had to say. Listen to this.
And in this regard, I think it would be proper for everyone to look for ways to stop the hostilities and to find a way to talk for all the parties to settle the matter through a dialogue and ensure the interests of Iran, ensuring its right to a peaceful nuclear activity, including nuclear energy, and the use of the peaceful atom in other spheres as well, and to ensure Israel's interests, ensuring the unconditional security for the Israeli state. And that is a very subtle matter. So certainly we must be very careful. But I believe that there can be a decision in principle.
So he's talking about making sure that Iran is treated fairly and also Israel is treated fairly. And we should look for some sort of solution right there. But also today, he would have won Trump against bombing Iran and says Israel is millimeters away from sparking nuclear catastrophe with its airstrike as Trump considers U.S. military attack. Warner says, do not be afraid, fight for your survival, be strategic and plan carefully. Well, in the Caribbean, the governments are not talking about this. They're not saying anything to the people. They're not telling them to stock up on food supplies just in case the Straits of Hormuz goes blocked. In case the Americans decide to do a bombing, you know what is going to happen there. Everything is just going to go for a while. Gas prices are going to be going out of control. And a lot of us don't have supplies of gas put down. So what are we going to do? Go back to firewood? I mean, I'm accustomed. I know about the coal pot. The coal pot is not a problem for me. The coal pot is not a problem for me. It's not a problem. I hope it's not a problem for you either. But Russia, what I'm afraid of is Russia and China getting involved. If the two get involved in this, then it's just all our problems for everybody. I mean, this thing has already gone global, basically, the way we're looking at it. And so none of us apparently, when I say none of us, I'm talking about the Caribbean governments, none of them are prepared for anything because some islands only have 2 weeks supply of gasoline. Some have 1 week supply of gasolines. I'm talking about in the tanks that they store, gasoline in for these gas stations. And it's just a sad thing. But our people, I'm happy. Have any of you have iodine? Blue talks about iodine. Iodine is very, very important to have in a nuclear fallout. And I think that while people may say that we're talking things that will never happen, I think we've never been closer to a nuclear fallout. This is the closest I think we've come to a nuclear fallout in our modern times. I think this is the closest that we've come because you're talking about the US, you're talking about China, you're talking about Russia. I mean, it's just the sheer magnitude of thinking about what could actually happen where our people are just not prepared for anything. You guys, any of you guys have 2 weeks supply of food in your home right now? Any of you guys? Talk to me. Any of you guys have 2 weeks supply of food in your home right now? Any of you guys have 1 week supply of food stuff in your home right now? Do you know that there are people? Do you know that there are people who go to the supermarket every single day? Do you know that? Do you know that there's some people who only live day to day? They can't do a month to month. They just live day to day. So every morning they get up, they have to send their children to the supermarket or the shop to buy whether it's bread, some kind of butter, something to go in the bread, something to make juice. Do you know that people live like that in the Caribbean? A lot of people live like that. Do you know a lot of people, a lot of families live like that? So if a lot of families are living like that, right? If a lot of people are living like that, what do you think will happen if there is some kind of nuclear fallout? Do you see any of us having food for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months? Huh? Of course, the leaders are safe in their bunkers. The people are the target. Population reduction is the agenda. As a matter of fact, Bilderberg Group, they're up in Switzerland right now having meeting. What's on the agenda? Depopulation. Let me show you. If you think I'm lying, let me get it and show you right now. The Bilderberg Group, the meeting agenda. Let's look for the Bilderberg Group. Let's see what they're up to right now. Yeah, Bilderberg, the Bilderberg Group meeting. Right now they're having a meeting up in Switzerland. Yeah, what's on the agenda? Let's check out and see what's on the agenda for this meeting. Everybody's looking to take out somebody as if they would have given them life. You see what's happening in this universe here? So they had their meeting from June the 12th to the 15th. That's when they had their meeting. I'll show you what's on the agenda right now. This is what is on their agenda, or was on their agenda. Yeah, let me show you what was on their agenda this year. This is what is on their agenda, or was on their agenda. You see that? 12th June to 15th June. Ukraine was on the agenda. The US economy was on the agenda. Europe was on the agenda. The Middle East was on the agenda. The Middle East. Authoritarian access. Do you know that they call Iran authoritarian access? That's right. Good. Defense, innovation, and resilience. Listen to what was on the agenda. Defense, innovation, and resilience. AI, deterrence, and national security. Proliferation. Talk about weapons. Geopolitics of energy and crucial minerals or critical minerals. And look at the last one on the agenda. Depopulation and migration. That's what the Bilderbergs had up in Switzerland for their meetings. These wicked and evil people. Look at what they had there. They were talking about Ukraine, maybe discussing how they want to continue that war, to continue have more souls dying, reducing the population. They were looking at the US economy, maybe how to bluster it even more. Europe, Middle East, well, I guess they had Iran on their plate for dinner. And they had depopulation and migration. Depopulation. So these people have meetings all the time and they sit and they discuss how they want to go about just, taking out as much as possible. That's what they do all the time. So they have their meetings and they do all these kind of things. So the population and migration was on the agenda. Only the last pandemic, and there's more to come. The population was on the agenda, of course, for that. And there's more to come. And we haven't seen anything yet. The worst is actually yet to come with all these things that are happening around us. A lot of us don't understand what's going on yet. And that's why we have this little community where we can discuss and share issues and talk about stuff. And also, guys, tonight I left a link in the chat section if you need to connect and talk to me right now. I know a lot of you have a lot of things to say. So if you need to talk to me, I left a link in the chat at the top. It's pinned there. Just connect to it and you'll come on through and I'll bring you in on the program and we'll discuss a lot of matters. So there are a lot of people on tonight. Blue, top of the night to you. Did I say good night to Afuana? Did I say good night to yeah. Says, do not forget the black community is the main target. Circling the wagon. Wake up. We're not taking this agriculture bioweapon brought into the US serious either. 7 months supply, according to Chiong there, Gina. Guess what? The whole issue of the bioweapons in terms of agriculture, a lot of us would have to start to get into small greenhouses or planting our food in our backyards or even on our porch in pots and stuff like that, like grow some tomatoes, grow some cucumber, some beans, some light stuff like string beans, some okra and stuff like that. A lot of us will have to start doing that because if we don't, we're going to find ourselves very soon with all these chemical things that they're blazing across the sky, and they do it all the time. There are other things that are happening that we're not talking about, and this is why I try to get get the information to you and bring it to you so that you could understand what's happening. And Chung is right. We better make it a habit because this world is very unstable and it's getting more unstable. As a matter of fact, people were asking me all the time, what are some of the conflicts that are going on in the world right now? Like how many conflicts are there going on in the world right now? I'm quite sure there's a number of them. Like how many wars are ongoing. Let's see what they're saying. There are 56 ongoing conflicts around the world, according to Vision of Humanity. This is the highest number of conflicts since World War II, with 92 countries involving conflicts outside their border. I wonder if you guys understand what's happening here. I wonder if you guys understand what's happening here. Take a listen to this. I want you guys to listen to this, and then we'll come back. Listen to this.
Which is guaranteed to get demonetized because it talks about death. However, it was chosen by our backers on Patreon, so let's get going with their support. This map shows all of the countries in the world where there's an ongoing conflict. The colours dictate how severe the conflict is by death count, but it's probably pretty shocking to see how much of the world is embroiled in conflicts. So in this video, we're going to walk you through some of the biggest conflicts and discuss these massively underreported stories from around the world, unpacking why so much of the world is dealing with significant conflict today. If you're interested in international news like this, as well as big stories like why Israel has had 4 elections in 2 years, China's attempt to kill Hong Kong's democracy, or the return of Ebola, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Currently, the vast majority of you haven't subscribed yet, and we'd love your support going forward. Thank you so much. So let's discuss how this map was created. Firstly, to qualify, a conflict must fulfill the following conditions. 1. There must be armed conflict between at least 2 organised groups. 2. Gang violence isn't typically included, unless there's a significant military involvement. 3. Territorial disputes or protest movements also aren't generally included, unless there's evidence of sustained state or paramilitary violence. And 4. All of the conflicts have at least 100 deaths total, are ongoing, and have at least 1 death in the last year. Even with those conditions, there are still 56 conflicts on the list, so we obviously don't have time to run through them all here. Therefore, we'll be grouping them by death count. There were 3 major wars, all of which have seen in excess of 10,000 deaths in the last year. Add to that the 13 wars, that's 1,000 to 999,000 deaths, 26 conflicts, 100 to 999 deaths, and 14 skirmishes, less than 100 deaths. Together, these 56 conflicts have led to in excess of 135,523 deaths in 2020, and more than 37,613 deaths so far in 2021. Those are clearly big numbers, so let's dive into the detail. Let's start with the deadliest, those categorized as major wars, starting with the Tigray War, a conflict involving Ethiopia, Sudan, and Eritrea. Despite the war only beginning in 2020, one of the newest on the list, over 17,000 people have already died, with the vast majority dying in 2021. The conflict in Ethiopia is between the central government, run by the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, or the TPLF. The TPLF ran Ethiopia from 1987 until Abiy took over in 2018, and the conflict started partly because the TPLF simply weren't happy about being ousted, and partly because Abiy wasn't particularly sympathetic to Tigrayan concerns. The conflict has mainly taken place in the northern region of Tigray, which is where the TPLF held regional government, but it's now an international affair. There are well-verified reports that the Eritrean army is also fighting the TPLF, and the conflict has displaced more than 50,000 Ethiopians to Sudan. We have a full video outlining this situation, so if you want to know more about this conflict, then there's a link to that video in the description. More deadly, though, is the Yemeni crisis, a conflict which has evolved in the years since it started in 2011, and while estimates vary wildly, has killed tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. The Yemeni crisis, like so many of these, is complicated, but at the heart of it, it's a civil war. Following the reunification of North and South Yemen in 1990, Saleh, North Yemen's former leader, took over control of the newly unified country. In 2011, he was toppled by his vice president Hadi, and this is where the situation escalated seriously. Iran backed Saleh and the Houthis who supported him, while the US, Saudi Arabia, and a number of other countries backed the new president. As with many conflicts in this region, religion plays a major factor, with one side being Shia Muslims and the other side Sunni. Anyway, with foreign involvement helping to escalate the crisis, the death count grew, with many believing the whole situation was being used as a proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Things aren't getting better here either, with the US describing the humanitarian crisis as the worst in the world in 2019, and others more recently saying that there's no clear way out of the crisis, with factions fighting for control on both sides, and the major powers backing opposing forces. Longer running and deadlier still is the Afghan conflict, starting as the Soviet-Afghan War and then evolving as terrorist groups gained a foothold in the region. A lot of the world started paying attention to this conflict in 2001 though, following the attacks of September 11th and the US's invasion of Afghanistan. In the subsequent years, the US and their allies ramped up their presence in the region, with troop numbers beginning to decline in 2012. However, it's hoped that progress is being made to end the conflict, with the US and the Taliban signing an agreement in February 2020, setting out a timeline for the US to withdraw from the country within 14 months. As part of this agreement, the Taliban pledged to ensure that their territory isn't used by terrorist groups, as well as committing to enter into talks with the Afghan government. However, a year on and things don't look quite as rosy. Despite the deal, a ceasefire still hasn't come into place, with over 20,000 people dying in 2020 alone. A recent report to the US Congress found that the Taliban were becoming increasingly bold, have maintained relationships with Al-Qaeda, and were unlikely to compromise in negotiations with the Afghan government. As such, the Biden administration is reviewing the deal that their predecessors signed with the Taliban, with talks of them renegotiating the agreement ahead of the May 1st deadline for removing troops from the area. Biden doesn't really have any good options here. He could pull the troops as planned, but then the Taliban could feel like they've won, leading to them overturning the Afghan government. He could negotiate an extension, but that would take political capital and would delay the takeover yet again, leaving US troops in danger. Or he could just ignore the deal and keep going indefinitely, which would almost invariably lead to US deaths as the Taliban retaliate. It looks like there's no good options for Biden, and ultimately we'll have to wait and see what he ends up doing next. So those were the major wars, but what about the other wars? One which might have caught your eye, and the biggest one in 2020, was the Mexican drug war, seeing 8,404 deaths in 2020 and nearly 2,000 this year so far. This number might actually be conservative though, as it's often hard to tell the difference between deaths associated with the drug war and more general organised crime related homicides. Speaking about the latter, the situation is getting increasingly bad in Mexico, with marked year-on-year increases as the state tries to take on hundreds of thousands of cartel members. The situation really kicked off in the 1980s when gangs began organising, creating regional areas of control. These regional divisions didn't hold for long though, with cartels fighting for increased control and access. In 2006, the president declared war on the cartels, allowing the state to use military force against them. This approach was controversial though, with allegations that this military force only increased crime levels. Before getting elected in 2018, Mexico's current president promised a new approach to tackle the issue, pledging a new National Guard. 2 years later though, and his promises still haven't been delivered, and as The Economist bluntly stated, his signature policies for combating crime have not so far worked. This isn't the only drug war on the list though, with drug-related conflicts going on in the Philippines and Bangladesh too. The Boko Haram insurgency in Africa is another significant issue, seeing over 60,000 cumulative deaths, 8,200 of which happened in 2020, spanning across 4 different countries. This has been an issue for a while now, with insurgent groups repeatedly trying to corrupt and disrupt the politics of West African nations. But Boko Haram, Africa's largest terrorist groups with links to the Islamic State, became a major issue in the early 2010s. Since then, numerous attacks, kidnappings and killings have taken place, including a major kidnapping which captured the world's attention in 2014. Since then, though, the threat has continued, with an estimated 2.5 million people displaced in the region, and 244,000 refugees fleeing the country altogether. In recent years, things have calmed slightly and international assistance increased, but many are still deeply concerned about their presence in the region, especially in the light of many recent kidnappings. The Syrian civil war, despite seeing hundreds of thousands of cumulative deaths, was slightly less damaging in 2020, resulting in it falling down the rankings. This conflict might have started as only protests against Assad's regime in 2011, but it quickly escalated into a full civil war. In fact, even civil war underplays it, as the Syrian government is getting support from Russia and Iran, while the rebels have backing from the US, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and others. Things got yet worse in 2013 when the Islamic State began claiming territory in Syria, further promoting international intervention. The conflict still rumbles on to this day, with attempts at diplomatic resolutions proving unsuccessful, and half of the country's population displaced. So, those 6 conflicts barely scratch the surface of this issue, but hopefully you found it interesting to see how many conflicts
involved carries big risks for the United States, which is why Democrats are calling for congressional approval before the president takes action. Military involvement is also politically risky for the president among his supporters. Campaign rally after campaign rally, Donald Trump promised his supporters as president he would end the wars in Ukraine and Gaza on day one, and the United States would not be involved in any new wars on his watch. But when it comes to Iran, the president has changed his tune.
I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble.
As U.S. aircraft carriers and strike groups move closer to the region, Trump is getting pressure from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the U.S. to get involved militarily. The U.S. has the only 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb capable of reaching Iran's deep nuclear facilities. But foreign policy experts say going to war with Iran carries big risks.
We've never used a bunker buster bomb for that deep of a facility. There's always the risk of some kind of nuclear fallout. You don't know what they have down there.
Chicago Council on Global Affairs Cecile Shea says the best case scenario for the president is for his threats to force Iran to negotiate a deal that would take its nuclear program back several years in exchange for the U.S. lifting sanctions, which would lower oil prices.
He wants a deal where he's the hero. And I think that the Iranians would really benefit by moving in that direction.
Congressional Democrats are calling for an act of Congress before the U.S. is called into a war.
The nation should be able to have a debate, a conversation, and we should all be able to make a collective decision about it. Wars are expensive. Starting them is easy. Ending them is very costly.
Meantime, Republicans say the president is in a political pickle, with his MAGA base split over getting involved in Iran.
One wants to stand with Israel and take out their nuclear capabilities. The other side is isolationist and says, hey, we don't want to be a part of any war.
Republicans are looking at the 2026 elections and worried a split party will hurt their chances of keeping control of Congress. Meantime, while the president has yet to make a decision, he said this afternoon that when he does, it will be 1 second before.
Full stage. Yeah, guys, listen. Right now, I think what we're seeing is, I mean, it's happening in real time, right? It's happening in real time. But I think what we're seeing is a pretext for something else. Because I'm thinking Israel moving into Iran, they're using American weapons, American technology, of course. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, who is America preparing to go to war with? Is it really Iran? Or is there another country, something bigger? Because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. I mean, these two people, Israel and Iran, are having the time of their lives, doing what they want to do between themselves, which nobody really wants either. But something tells me Iran is not even the target here. And when I say the target, I'm talking about who is it that America really wants to go after. I just think that there's something else bigger in the play here. Something doesn't look right here. I don't even know if America wants to go after Iran. I mean, they're saying that Trump has approved the plans, but he hasn't say go, and that's the thing. I don't even think he wants to go. But my thing is, I just have this feeling that Iran is really not even the country that America wants to go after right now. All of the headlines are saying Trump privately approved attack plans for Iran pending final order. It just seems as if Israel going into Iran was a test case. Why do I say that? So they had months on the ground, basically, that's what they're saying, to plan, because they got into Iran very safely, flying into Iran without hardly anybody stopping them, any problems really. So based on their intelligence and what they're telling the world is that they planned it months ago. Their Mossad was on the ground. They got in, they planned, they knew where everything was. They start bombing, they start doing stuff. Something about this doesn't smell right. I don't even know if America really wants to go after Iran, if Iran is really who they want to go after. I just think there's some other bigger fish in this pond, and we're not seeing it as we're supposed to. Joseph says, welcome to Armageddon. Netanyahu is the evil leader of this world, pressuring Trump to go to war with American money. Yeah, well, I mean, we understand all of that. I think by now a lot of us know that. And I agree with you on that. He's pressuring the man. And he has to make up his mind because Israel is their best ally in the Middle East, really. I mean, it's in a position where they could attack a lot of people from. But the point about it is that I keep wondering if they really want to go after Iran, if America really, if there's somebody else in the picture that we're not seeing. Afu says Russia, US, and UK are friends behind closed doors. And absolutely, I agree with you on that. All these politicians are friends behind closed doors. Every last one of them. Even in your local Caribbean countries, you see it all the time. Opposition, government in power, they gambadge, they cuss one another in the parliament. People out here picking up for them. That's why I keep telling people all the time. Don't pick up for politicians. Don't get tricked with this play they have in the parliaments where they cuss one another. They're all friends behind closed doors. If one of their children wants something, whether it is opposition, they call the prime minister, they'll get it. If the opposition, if the prime, I mean, listen to me. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Don't fight up for politicians. I'm gonna say something to you. If you want to vote, that's fine. If you want to vote, go and vote. That's fine. That's your right to do. But I am encouraging you, do not be out here cussing your neighbor for no politician. Absolutely none. Don't even do it. No day nor night. Because I gotta tell you something. If you elect a politician, he goes into office and he causes oppression for people, that's on your head as well. That's on your head as well. You're the individual who put him there or her there. So I'm saying to you, yeah, I understand all of this about the voting. People have to elect a government. That's fine. People who are conscious these days, they really don't vote because these politicians from time immemorial have been playing games with people endlessly, real games. And I'm very happy that during my younger years, and I'm saying younger years, I'm not 50 yet. People ask me how old I am. They say if I cut off the beads on my face, I would look like I'm 20. I mean, thank you for that. But, I'm old enough. But I'll tell you something. I had opportunities to be around government and around opposition. I've worked with opposition parties and I've worked with government. Trust me, I know the play, the back of the hand. None of them, absolutely none of them are good. They're all the same. Don't get it twisted. You hear me? Virgil said Pandy and Manny were friends. Of course they're friends. They're absolute friends. That's what politicians are. They're friends. It's a club. It's a club. Like doctors don't go against doctors. They don't go against doctors. That's a club. Police hardly go against police. That's a club. Politicians the same. They say lawyers are the same. I mean, it's just what it is. And we have to be very, very serious about how we live our lives. Black Africa has no friends. Watch out. Russia, a friend or foe of Black Africa. You know, each country go where they can find something that they make alliances for their interests, especially countries with money. So I sometimes I'm wary of all people because America was there one time, Britain was there one time. Now we have a new slave master, whether it's China or Russia. People go where they can find things for themselves. I'm just watching everybody. That's all. I'm hoping that people make wise choices. That's all. It's prophecy. This social engineering was seriously thought out. Of course it does. Beckles and Kamala are good friends. Well, there you have it, people. There you have it. I know some people don't like to hear discussions like these. They run off the live because they're so close to politicians that they get angry when you talk about it. I remember one time I spoke about something like this, and I got a lot of WhatsApp messages from a gentleman, and he was going off in a tirade. He was cursing. So I realize that a lot of people are not conscious enough yet to deal with classes like what I'm having here. And they're so close to politicians that they get everything that they need from politicians. So when they hear things like these, they run off and they don't come back. And I understand. I mean, that's your thing. I mean, if you're living by the fat of the land and you're being fed in the trough, I mean, that's your thing. I can't stop you from doing that. All I'm saying, people have to be wise about how they allow politicians to use them because that's what they really do. They use people. And when they're finished, look at this. Tell me if I'm wrong. A politician, here comes an election, and a politician goes around to every community. He comes in your house or she comes in your house, sit at your table with your broke down chairs, um, talks about your plight, eat food from your pot. They don't care if it's dirty or clean. They eat it. They drink from your cup. They don't care if the cup is plastic or glass, whatever. And they have a good time and you feel energized and you feel good because here comes a politician and they were at my home. I never expected them to come here and they sat with me, they ate my food. And then after election, if you could look for them in their office, all you will hear from their secretaries is that they're in a meeting, come back tomorrow. And then you come back tomorrow. And then they're in a meeting, come back tomorrow. And if you call their phone 6 and 7 times, they never answer. And when they do see you or they book up into you someplace, they say to you, wait, I missed your call. I've been so busy with this thing that I couldn't even get a chance, but I'll come around the village next time. And you never see them until the next 4 or 5 years. And then they come and they put maybe a $200 in your hand, a $300 in your hand, and you feel the same way again and you go back and vote for them, and the playbook is all over again. All I'm saying to you guys, wake up, wise up. Just get conscious of what people do to you. That's all. JJ says Wana Blackjack is not the only people they suffer, or will the world don't resolve the wrong blacks as okay. Don't make the mistake of even Netanyahu when he had USA attacking Iraq with weapons of mass destruction, lies, and deception money. It's evil. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things going on out here. A lot of evil is going on in the world, and that's a fact. But I'm just telling you guys, I am so happy that you join me from time to time. And I'm just saying that we have to be very careful. We just have to be conscious of how we deal with politicians. We just have to be very conscious of how we allow people to use us, because that's what they do. They use us. We have to be careful with the kind of alliances that we make with people, because some of these people are caught up in so many things that if you make alliances with them, you don't even know you could put yourself in problems. And I'm just warning people just to be conscious, just to wake up and be conscious of what is going on around you. That's just all I'm saying to people. And there's a lot of people who come in the classroom, they hear these things, and I know they run and they get angry because, like I said, they are so involved with politicians, and they just lose themselves. But anyway, the whole thing is that Russia has warned the US not to go into Iran, basically, not because it could be a nuclear catastrophe. And just moments ago, Trump has says he has approved plans, but pending any invasion basically into Iran. We could get up any morning and hear that America has gone into Iran, or things have gotten worse. And all I'm saying to you guys that are in the class right now, listen, make some preparations. Make some preparations. At least if you have a drum and you can store it in your house, keep it in your house, just in case you have to collect water and keep it in the drum. Because if there's any nuclear fallout anywhere, the skies are going to get contaminated. People are going to get sick. Basically, your water supply is going to get, contaminated, which means if you drink it, you will die. And there'll be food shortages. There will be oil shortages, gasoline shortages, which means you can't run your vehicle for a long time. Prices will go up on almost everything. And yeah, Anafu says that the UK is also prepping and they're preparing. A lot of people are preparing because things can happen. Things can happen. People in the Caribbean take everything sometimes for a joke because they say they live far away. We are no longer living far away. The world is a very small village, connected very, very small. Now, long ago we used to say we have to wait on a boat to come from Australia for months. Now we take a plane, you hop over to England and get to the Caribbean by the same day sometimes, or even the next day or late into the day. So nothing is far away anymore. And these bombs, these nuclear annihilations that they're building, they travel at the speed of what some places sound, Mach 6, 7. It is just crazy. All I'm urging you people to do is to prepare a little, put away something. Iodine is important to have. Iodine is very, very important to have. That is one of the number one thing that you must have. If you don't have it, you should go to your pharmacy, tell them you're looking for iodine. Those of you who can go online to Amazon, whatever, buy the iodine pills. Just buy them. One or two, whatever. Keep it. You're going to need it. Take it from me. Anything can happen. We can go to sleep. Listen to me. We went to sleep on the 4th of June and we woke up on the 5th of June and we heard that Israel was bombing Iran. That is how crazy the world is right now. You can wake up tomorrow morning and hear a lot of things happen overnight that you did not expect. And nobody's prepared. Not even these governments in the Caribbean are prepared for anything. And then you'll hear them rushing and talking about, oh, make your preparation. Make preparations for what? You should have known this already. You should have known this from time immemorial. That's why I keep urging you guys to follow the news. Follow it, follow it, follow it. Listen, 2, 3 bottles of iodine, keep it. I have about probably 6, 7 bottles of iodine at home. I'm not joking. People call me prepper. I don't care. And of course, yes, my good friend, that's right. The best prep is spirituality, but food we should stock up. That's correct. That's correct. I agree with you fully. We should be fully intact. Spiritually should be on guard. Our minds should be fully intact with Yah. But while we're living here, we also have to condition ourselves that we're living in a real world with real evil people where evil things can happen. And while we are not living in the war zone per se, things get transmitted And we get the shitty end of the stick, as the people would say, outside of the war zone. Because we depend on everything. We import food, we import oil, we import everything under the sun. So we're going to feel it. We will feel it. You understand what I'm saying? All this is just crazy. And I'm just telling you guys, listen, have iodine, get iodine. And tomorrow, what I want to do actually is to have a live. Yeah, actually, somebody asking me if I'm live. Yes, we are live at this time. Let me just make sure that we are actually live, because somebody's asking me if we're live, and I have to make sure that we actually are live. Let me make sure. Yes, we are live. We are actually live. Yes, at this time we are live, and I think right now there's 155 people actually here. So what I'm saying is that Amerijuana says I already got kerosene. I have lead lantern. I have a lantern. I have some soybeans. I have a bucket of rice, and I have to get some batteries. Listen, do what you have to do. Get what you have to get. The small things, you need them for a while. We're not living close to the war zone like in Iran, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, those places around there. Where if there's any nuclear fallout, they're gonna have a serious problem. We're not living there, but the wind blows and contamination spreads. And that's just the whole point of what is happening. That's why I keep telling you guys to stock up with the simple things. Tomorrow, what I want to do, I think around 7 p.m., I want to be live again. If you guys would join me, I want to be live again tomorrow night. And I want to talk about things like the iodine and some of the things that you need to have. Um, so prepare to come to write down your stuff. But and also there's some stuff like natural herbs that you need to keep around, things like oregano, things like myrrh, things like frankincense. And you can get these things to buy online, because you may not get the local pharmacy, so you may have to buy them on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. Some of these things are like $5, $6, $10, $13 US. If you have anybody in the US, get them to go on Amazon, get these things for you and send them for you. Things like oil of oregano. I mean, the bush is there. It's sticky time. It's already the French time that it is. And you can have things like those, oil of oregano. You can have myrrh. Myrrh and stuff like that is very, very good if you have a cut. If you have a cut and you put myrrh in it the next morning, it's basically healed up without having to use all these things that you get from the pharmacy that damaging you more than ever. So these are things that you need to know. These are things that you need to have in your homes prepared, because like I said, anything can happen. You went to bed on June the 4th and you woke up on June the 5th, and what did you hear? Israel was bombing Iran, right? So then the whole point about it is you never know when something actually can take place. This is what it's all about. It's not that you're living your life in fear, because I all believe that once you do your usual prayers and you're in contact with Yah, you really don't have anything to fear. But once things are happening around you, you also need to prepare yourselves. Iodine is very, very important, and I'm urging you guys to get the iodine, get the oil of oregano, get the myrrh, get the frankincense. Listen to me. Go online, go to Amazon. These things are pretty, pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. Get somebody in the US. You have family and friends, get them to just send them for you. You understand what I'm saying? You need to. You need to keep these things and keep them close, because anything can happen any day. I said to you that all of us went to bed in 2020. We woke up in 2021, and then we heard 2020 and we heard about COVID. Nobody expected COVID to come. Nobody expected anything like that to happen, but it did occur. So all I'm saying to you guys is prepare yourself, because at any time, at any day, anything can happen, and you should be ready for it. If the governments are not taking stock of anything, if they're not telling you, I mean, I'm quite sure that at least 5 of you right now here on the live, at least 5 of you can say to me, you have not heard anything from your governments since the start of this conflict between Iran and Iraq. I'm quite sure you've never heard anything from any of them. You're dealing with people who have nuclear capabilities. Israel has nuclear capabilities. We heard that Iran wants to enrich uranium. We heard they're having nuclear weapons, or they're making, or they're close to making. That's what Israel is saying. We don't know if they have it already. We don't know. We don't know if in Fordo, in that bunk that they have underground in the mountain, we don't know if they have nuclear stuff there already. We don't know that. And if someone were to bomb that and then you have a nuclear explosion, what the hell do you think is going to happen? I don't know. I mean, these governments are so occupied with maybe so many other things, but there are things happening around them that they need to warn their people off. And the people don't know, they're not hearing it. And I am really at this point in time, I'm really worried. I am really worried for the Caribbean. I'm really, really worried for worried for the Caribbean. I'm really worried after the way the leaders are behaving. We're not hearing anything. Tick says the war is artificial intelligence, man. Yeah. Well, my friend, you know, I don't know. Well, yeah, you said last night that they are not saying anything. I think Wayne said last night that they're not saying anything. And Wayne, you're very correct. Um, you're very correct on that. And when you said that they were not saying anything, and I get it. I get it. It's really a sad situation right now. They're not saying anything. They're really not saying anything. Um, guys, listen to me. Like I said to you, get the iodine, get the oil of oregano, get as much as you can get natural stuff, and keep a barrel inside. Keep it clean, just in case you have to fill water quickly, and keep it in your homes. You have to start thinking about your windows and how you can protect them, like seal them. You have to start thinking about how you can seal them, whether by tape or whether by something. You have to start researching these things as well. I'll have to go and get information for you, but there are things. But most of all, Dreamer says, John 14:12 and John 5:20, greater works is the way of escape. They are, the days of Noah, go per wood and stuff like that. Absolutely. Aaron says, put your trust in God. Don't worry about world events. You have to worry about world events. You can put your trust in the Maker, but you have to be concerned with what is happening around you. I'm being very real about this. I'm being very, very real about this. Yeah. He did say put your trust in Yah. He did say that. He said put your trust in him. And he also said that you must occupy until he decides to end this cabal that they have going on this earth. So in the meantime, while you put your trust in him, you have to prepare yourself for any event that can take place around you. A hurricane coming directly at your country, you can't say put your trust in Yah and don't prepare for the hurricane. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You have to. You have to prepare still. You're living in a real world. Your faith and trust is anchored in Yah, but you must prepare. Because if the hurricane passes and your house roof is blown off and you don't have anywhere else, what? Shops are closed, poles are down, there's no electricity. So you don't have one candle in your house. You don't have a barrel of water to live on for the next couple of days because everybody's honking about looking for that. You have to. You have to. So I understand what you're saying, but as always, you have to prepare for something. So yeah, and like I said, that we just have to prepare ourselves. Um, we're gonna have to talk about all of these things tomorrow night. Um, just prepare yourselves. Signs of the time. Someone is saying we have to prepare mentally as well. Yeah, because you remember when we had COVID. Do you realize that after that, because people were not expecting to be in their homes so long and be locked down, do you realize that a lot of people have mental issues now because of that? Yeah, a lot of people do have mental issues. So we have to be prepared as well. All right? We have to be prepared mentally as well. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. Yes, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. There's so many people that was on. I want to go back. Let me see who else is here. Um, let's see what else is here. Tick is on. Ariana Wilson. is on. Red Nose. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Who else is on? Afuwana, Virgil, Aaron Hunt. A lot of people were on tonight. Wayne, I see Wayne was there. There's a lot of people. Hey, let me see who else is on here, man. A lot of people were there. Sophie, JJ, Blue was on earlier. I see a lot. I think I saw Ian was on earlier as well. Yeah, guys. So I want to thank you for being on tonight. Leave your comments in the section as always. The next live that we do, I expected maybe tomorrow. Yas willing. I'm gonna leave the link in the description so that you could get onto the program and talk to me as well, because I'm quite sure that many of you may want to participate in it. Yeah, I want to end with the I want to end with this comment from, I think it's from, let me see, Virgil. I think this is actually what I wanted to talk about. Virgil says the Bible talked about the five foolish virgin and the five wise. So the Bible did talk about preparations. Absolutely. And what better way to end on? This is absolutely the best way to end on. Five foolish virgin, five are wise. So yeah, they talk about preparation. Thanks a lot, guys. Um, thanks a lot. And tomorrow night we will actually be on from 7 again. I want to talk about the iodine and the different things that you can use or have. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Some of us don't even know if we're gonna be here tomorrow. None of us. Me, you, nobody know. None of us know if we would be here tomorrow or even the next second. As a matter of fact, none of us know. But if we are, we definitely would be on tomorrow live, and we'll talk about all these things. All right. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Take care. And I will see you tomorrow night. Remember to share the live around. Share it still. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Get them to subscribe to the channel so our family will get bigger and that we'll have more time to discuss more matters. Take it easy, guys. Have a good night.